Welcome to the Gallery Walk, created by Cindy Chin, Emily Soper, Lisa Carger, Jay Johnson, Georgia McDonald. A special thank you to the Black New York community members who helped develop the Gallery Walk: Crystal Miller, Dominique Semple, Tiara Brown Seal, Danielle Doucette, Shanique Woolfolk. Note: the Gallery Walk is developed as part of a student research project and is not intended to replace medical advice. This video is a digital version of the in-person Gallery Walk educational tool. This tool aims to increase awareness of genetic counseling and genetic testing for hereditary breast and ovarian cancer, HBOC, susceptibility in the Black population in Harlem and the Bronx. The end of this video includes information regarding a research study that aims to assess the utility of this tool. Participating in this research is entirely optional. You do not have to participate in this study in order to watch this video. More information about the study and how to participate is located in the description box and at the end of the video. Please enjoy.
Meet Tiffany. About Tiffany. Tiffany just turned 30. She lives with her 2 kids and husband. She loves to walk through Jackie Robinson Park over the weekends. Tiffany couldn't help but smile as her kids and husband sang her happy birthday. It was out of tune but perfect. As she closed her eyes and blew out the candle on the 7-Up cake they had baked her, she wished for one thing: to experience many more imperfectly perfect birthdays. Tiffany has been healthy her whole life. 10 days ago. We have your results: triple-negative breast cancer. You should see a genetic counselor. There's no way I have cancer. I don't trust Dr. K. Tiffany sat in disbelief. How could that tiny lump be breast cancer? Her mom had breast cancer, but not until she was almost 50. No, Dr. K's probably just saying that so I'll keep paying her for the extra appointments I'll have to go to, she thought. Tiffany didn't trust Dr. K. Tiffany, we'd like to refer you to a genetic counselor to talk about genetic testing and help figure out if cancer runs in your family. Tiffany thought, I don't have time for this. But all she could say was, okay. On the subway. African American women are more likely to develop breast cancer before age 50 and develop the most aggressive subtype of breast cancer, triple-negative breast cancer, TNBC. Black women with breast cancer under 50 years are approximately 2 times more likely to die compared to white women. On the subway, Tiffany Googled triple-negative breast cancer. The pit in her stomach grew. The odds were not in her favor. She felt like her life was over. All she could do was sit in her seat and cry quietly before putting on a brave face for her kids and husband. The next day. Don't tell her your business. I have breast cancer. I also had breast cancer. How can I pray for you? At church, all Tiffany could think was, why would God allow this to happen? After the service, Mrs. Rebecca asked if she could pray for Tiffany. Tiffany muttered through tears, I have breast cancer. After a time of prayer together, Mrs. Rebecca shared that she had breast cancer 2 years ago and offered her support. Tiffany needed all the support she could get, but her mom's voice resonated in her head. Never tell your business to anyone. The Lord will take care of me. He will send people to treat me, Tiffany thought. So she thanked Mrs. Rebecca and went home. What's the point of genetic counseling if I'm going to die anyways? Genetic counseling and testing can sometimes help decide what steps should be taken to reduce breast cancer risk. American Cancer Society. Studies show Black women are less likely to use genetic services than white women. Tiffany tried to focus on cooking, but all she could think about was her diagnosis and the genetic counseling appointment. Tiffany's had so many doctors who didn't believe in her, didn't listen, or just didn't care. I don't have it in me to teach myself all this information or to deal with another rude medical professional, she thought. While the stew simmered, she Googled genetic counseling, breast cancer. A line caught her eye. Genetic counseling and testing can sometimes help decide what steps should be taken to reduce breast cancer risk. I would do anything to get better for my kids and husband. This could be the help the Lord is sending me, she thought. Tiffany was nervous. She kept thinking about her kids. I'm going to ask you some questions about your cancer diagnosis, And then about your family, said Sarah, the genetic counselor. There's nothing to tell. Only my mom had cancer, she thought. Then we'll go through some genetic basics and discuss genetic testing, said Sarah. Sound okay? Tiffany thought, genetic testing? That sounds scary and unnecessary, but not it anyways. The appointment. What are genes? Genes tell our bodies what to do. Genetic testing is a blood test to look for changes in BRCA1 and BRCA2. If you test positive, doctors may change your care. Since gene changes can be passed down, this could also help your family. Sarah seemed nice, but it's hard to trust healthcare professionals. Genes are instructions for our bodies. When someone is young like you and or has triple-negative breast cancer, we wonder if it could be caused by changes in BRCA1 or BRCA2 genes that normally protect against cancer. I would like to offer you a blood test to see if the BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes have any changes in them. Can they fix the change if they find it? How would finding a gene change help me? We can't fix a gene change, but if a gene change is found, doctors may manage your cancer risk differently. Sarah went on. The doctors may recommend certain surgeries to treat your breast cancer or to lower the risk of new cancers. They may also recommend more frequent cancer checkups to catch cancers earlier. But having a change does not mean that you would definitely have cancer again. It makes the risk higher. Oh God, how would someone even get these changes? People are born with these gene changes and they are passed down in families. So if we find a gene change in you, it would also mean that there's a 50% chance that you passed on that change to each of your children. Tiffany's heart sank. She didn't want anything to happen to her kids. She didn't want them to have cancer. I know it can be a lot to process. How are you feeling so far? I was scared to have cancer, but I'm even more scared for my kids. Sarah listened to Tiffany. You love your kids. If you do have a gene change, we will definitely talk about your family. There are some cancer-lowering strategies we can help you discuss if it comes to that. I'm here to support you. Tiffany felt hopeful about helping her family and how the doctors could help her if she had a gene change. She thought, I can't control if I have a gene change, but I can control if I want to learn about it. Will genetic testing be covered by insurance? With your history, your insurance will cover testing. It depends on the insurance and the patient's own circumstances. I would do anything to help my family. Okay, let's do it. Sarah went through the consent form with Tiffany. Your results will come back in a couple of weeks, said Sarah. As she began signing the form, Tiffany felt anxious and uncertain. Do I really know what I'm signing myself up for? She thought. She paused, but thought again about her kids and about her own treatment. She signed. She wanted this information, and this was the only way to get it. The results. You have a gene change in BRCA2. There's a 50% chance you passed it on to your kids. I feel so guilty. I can't stop thinking about my family. Tiffany sat in Sarah's office, clutching her husband's hand. Tiffany, I know you're anxious to hear your results, so I will get right to it. You have a gene change in BRCA2. Tiffany's mind raced, thinking about her kids and future generations. Finally, she said, I want the best for my family. I have to tell them, but I don't know how. We don't talk about health. They don't even know I have cancer, so I don't know how to tell them they have a 50% chance to die. This is hard to talk about. Let's work through that. I'm here to help. And remember, having the gene change does not necessarily mean someone would get cancer or die of it. Tiffany and Sarah brainstormed about how to tell her family. And remember, if you don't feel comfortable, I can give you a letter to send to them. You don't even have to put your name on it, said Sarah. Okay, we'll see how Thanksgiving goes. I feel okay right now.
Meet Anthony. About Anthony. Anthony is a 50-year-old single dad to 12-year-old Shaniqua. He came from a family of amazing home chefs. Naturally, he wanted to become a chef. He works at a neighborhood restaurant in Harlem. Even though he is a successful line cook, he barely makes ends meet between rent, weekly groceries, and taking care of his daughter. Medicaid HMO was usually sufficient for his medical needs, but not always. At work. You have breast cancer, which may be caused by changes in the BRCA1 or BRCA2 genes. Is this a joke? Men don't even have breasts, we have pecs. Dr. Levi must be wrong. He never listens to me. Anthony felt exhausted, antsy, and unfocused in the kitchen. He couldn't stop replaying the conversation he had with his doctor. Flashback to appointment with Dr. Levi. Anthony, I'm sorry, you have breast cancer. Anthony started laughing. This is impossible. I've never heard of any man getting breast cancer. Dr. Levi's face remained stoic. He's serious, Anthony thought. But he must have me mixed up with another patient. After all, he never listens to me, so it's not like he knows me. I never liked him. Male breast cancer is very rare, said Dr. Levi. The shock kicked in. Anthony couldn't believe this was happening. Are you sure, Doc? I really have no symptoms other than this lump. How could this happen? Dr. Levi told Anthony that breast cancer may be caused by changes in the genes BRCA1 and BRCA2. Genetics isn't my area of expertise, so I'm referring you to a genetic counselor. Anthony felt embarrassed. So what now? I'm just going to die from breast cancer? As a man? He thought. As always, he simply muttered, okay, whatever. Anthony attended the genetic counseling appointment a couple weeks later and still wasn't sure if he wanted to take the genetic test. A glimpse into Anthony's thoughts. At work. I don't know if I want to know. It's extra time and money I can't afford. But I could use the lab's financial assistance program if insurance doesn't cover it. And the video visit can save me time when the results come back. This could help Shaniqua's future. I can't believe it. There's a 0.1% chance for a man to get breast cancer. I guess it would make sense if I have those changes in BRCA1 or BRCA2 genes, since that leads to a 5 to 10% chance of male breast cancer. 5 to 10% is higher than 0.1%, but still, that's just embarrassing. Ugh, if I really have a gene change, I'm more likely to get other cancers too, like prostate and pancreatic cancer. I thought BRCA1 and BRCA2 only had to do with breast cancer in women. Should I get the genetic test? No, it's too scary. I don't want to give myself more to worry about. Anthony, don't do the test. If I have a gene change, Shaniqua has a 50% chance of having it too. I don't want her to end up having cancer. Sweet Shaniqua, I can't even think about that. But if she does have that change, she could get cancer screening younger so they could catch it earlier. Okay, yes, I want this information for her. I can't afford the test. I can barely put food on the table. The genetic counselor thinks it'll be covered, but it depends on the insurance. Worst case, I could use a financial assistance program so testing could be free or low cost. She also said that some insurance covers extra cancer screening or prevention based on genetic test results. Okay, but I still don't have time for appointments. I definitely can't take more time off. My boss is already mad I'm not working Thanksgiving. I could save time with a video visit for the results in a couple weeks. Maybe I'll be able to sort something out with my coworkers in the meantime. At work. Hey, Anthony, stop daydreaming and come help me. As Anthony walked over, he thought, if only they knew what I was even daydreaming about. He knew he couldn't tell anyone about it. Not the guys, not his daughter, not his family. He was so embarrassed. I have enough to handle already. I don't need people thinking I'm not manly because I have breast cancer. I don't need to be humiliated.
Meet Destiny. About Destiny. Destiny is 38 years old. She is the middle child. She is close to her siblings Jaden and Tiffany, particularly Tiffany. Growing up, they told each other everything. Destiny was part of the dance team in high school and in college. No one was surprised when she became a dance teacher. It was a cold November day. Destiny's shoes crunched the leaves as she crossed Marcus Garvey Park with her husband and 2 girls, a hot sweet potato pie in hand. Arriving at her mom Latifah's, she heard the chatter from outside, the sound of a full house. She was excited to hear her sister Tiffany's big news. Maybe she was pregnant. All of Destiny's favorite dishes were present: collard greens, candied yam, and turkey wings. Conversation was flowing. Her brother Jaden talked about his company's newest product, and Destiny jokingly rolled her eyes. At the end of the meal, when the kids left to play, Tiffany finally said, "I have something I want to talk to you all about. I was recently diagnosed with breast cancer. I did genetic testing, and I have a change in the BRCA2 gene." Destiny's heart sank. This was not what she was expecting to hear. She looked across the table and noticed that Uncle Anthony was unusually quiet. "Oh dear." Latifah got up to hug Tiffany. She could understand since she had breast cancer 13 years ago. "How are you holding up?" she asked. "I'm fine, I guess," said Tiffany. Thanksgiving dinner. "The doctors changed my treatment because of this BRCA2 result. I don't want you to worry, and this is important for all of you." "I don't want to think about this during Thanksgiving. I'm so embarrassed, but I'm worried about Shaniqua." "My little sister. Cancer?" The plot thickens. Anthony's point of view. "I was shocked too because cancer doesn't even run in the family. The only person who's had cancer is Mom." "Actually, there are more people in the family who had cancer. I never told you because we don't talk about these things." As Tiffany went on, Anthony thought, "Do I actually have the gene change? I know this is a shock, especially because the only person in the family who's had breast cancer is Mom," said Tiffany. Anthony looked down. He wasn't going to share his diagnosis and be humiliated. "Anyways, you should all get connected with a genetic counselor," said Tiffany. "Actually, dear," said Latifah, "my mother passed away from ovarian cancer." She looked to Anthony. "And our brother Rashad died of prostate cancer at 45. I never told you because we don't talk about these things." The debate. Destiny's point of view. "So cancer runs in my family and almost everyone who got it died? I will probably die from cancer too. But having a change in these genes doesn't mean that someone will for sure get cancer. Can Tiffany hear my thoughts?" Destiny could feel herself disassociating. It didn't help that Tiffany emphasized what the genetic counselor told her. People with these gene changes are more likely to have cancer before age 50 and have other cancers like ovarian and prostate cancer. None of this made sense to her, but Tiffany said, "I guess this BRCA2 change might be the cause for the cancers in our family." Destiny began to spiral. The debate. "The government's just going to take your information and sell it or use it against us." "You don't have to test. It is your decision. My genetic counselor talked through the pros and cons with me. There's a law where you can't get fired or lose health insurance because of genetic information. No one will make you do the test, Jaden." Things got out of control when Tiffany said, "Just go get testing, okay?" "Get tested? Are you kidding, sis? The government's going to make us seem like we're less than other folks. I ain't giving them nothing," said Jaden. Destiny always thought Jaden was the smartest of the three kids. Maybe he had a point? Tiffany mentioned a law protecting people from getting fired or losing health insurance because of genetic information. It doesn't protect other kinds of insurance like life insurance, but still. Yeah, but what do they do with the blood? What if they keep it forever and run experiments on it? I don't want my sample to be misused. I haven't forgotten what they've done to our people, said Jaden. I was worried too, said Tiffany. The genetic testing lab has to throw out the blood after 60 days since we're from New York. Apparently, they can keep the DNA information, but they remove personal information so it becomes anonymous. You're right that nothing in life is ever guaranteed, but the genetic counselor said labs do their very best to protect the information. Right, but the only way I know I will be safe is if I don't do the test, said Jaden. It's okay if you don't do the test, Jaden. I just wanted to give you the information. My genetic counselor talked through all the pros and cons with me, and that helped me decide. She actually listened and didn't try to force me to do the test. We made a decision together based on what was important to me. Later that night, I want to plan ahead, but I'm also really scared to know. I know how you feel, but the genetic counselor really supported me. Okay, I guess I'll go. Where can I find a genetic counselor? Destiny couldn't stop thinking about whether to take the test. How did you deal with the news of a gene change, Tiff? "You're so strong." Tiffany responded, "Trust me, I couldn't sleep. But the genetic counselor went through everything with me, what this means for my cancer treatments, for our family, and next steps. I was surprised. I thought she was only there to give me the genetics information, but she was a huge support too." Destiny felt a little better. She decided she would go see a genetic counselor. Where can I find a genetic counselor? This slide contains resources for those interested in genetic counseling or hereditary breast and ovarian cancer. Please scan this QR code to take the survey or use the link in the description box. Thank you for your time.